Hello, everybody. Hope you're doing well. My name is Carlos Virreira, and I am the founder and product lead at Shelf. Shelf is an open source asset management infrastructure product which is meant to add value to individuals and teams that are trying to get their assets under control. Shelf is usually used by various types of industries from um, production companies to IT firms, data centers, universities, anything, and construction companies, anybody that is dealing with assets or gear management. Today, I'm going to do something new, which is that I want to discuss some of the features that we're building and considering to push into our roadmap. The feature that we're going to be looking at is called checkouts. Checkouts are um, a way to give temporary custody, to give temporary ownership of an object, of an asset to a person for a determined period of time. Checkout as a concept can be for a singular asset for a period of time or an array of assets, multiple assets that can be given to a person. Um, as Shelf currently is working with a single asset manager in mind, we will need to introduce a concept called non-account having team members, which basically is a list of humans that you can select to give access to your objects. So these designs that we're gonna look into now are coming from our UX UI department. I've previously reviewed them, but I just want to run through it so that you can follow along the journey if you're trying to stay updated with Shelf and with the things that are going to be launching. So let's get into it and let's see what you think. All right. So let me move this down, I think. Now, you can see my face for a bit. So, yes, checkouts. Let me open this. So, as you might be knowing or being familiar a little bit with the layout of Shelf, um, we have like a sidebar on the left side where we have a few actions like your assets, your categories, your tags, um, your locations, and so on. Checkouts will have their own area on the right sidebar. Um, what you can see here from the UI is that you can get a list of the checkouts that you've made historically, so you can sort through them, and you can see a few different checkout statuses. Um, a checkout can be in draft, which is a tricky thing, and we're gonna get to it in a bit. A checkout can be in an open stage, overdue, and a completed stage. An open stage basically means that the checkout is ongoing, that somebody has access to has taken custody of the equipment for a moment. Um, Moreover, you can see the person to which it has been assigned to, who is the main contact person, and the from to date, as well as a small calculation of the duration of the checkout. Moreover, you will be able to see an asset count on the checkout, which is interesting. So you can do a bundle checkout or you can do a single item checkout. A single item checkout, let's say, uh, yeah, so here, let's say you have a company Beamer that you share with everybody, and you think, hey, I want to give this to our marketing department who requested it for an event. You can create a checkout, perhaps some roll-up banner, some stuff like that, so you can know where things are. And so this is the view that we have for the checkout index. And you have a button on the right side, which is to create a new checkout, and that will take you to the following process. So once you start a checkout, it starts in an untitled draft stage. And I remember I said in the past that drafts are an interesting concept. So at Shelf, if we're gonna allow you to check something out, that introduces a new sort of asset status. Uh, an asset can be open and available for checking out, but once you are in the process of checking it out, it enters a new stage, which is it's it's kind of in a pending to be checked out moment. So it could be that maybe two people are trying to check out the same beamer at the same time, and that can create, let's say, uh, uh, a small issue with the practicality of it, right? Like two people for the same dates, they want to check out the same assets, you only have one. The two should prevent that. So how we're going to tackle this is that whenever you're adding assets to a checkout draft, there's a small period of time in which the assets become unavailable or they're in the process of being checked out. So not another person can book them. So I think it's important for you to know that this is something that we're dealing with and we are coming up with concepts. Perhaps we have to, uh, after you've spent more than 10, 15 minutes drafting a checkout, perhaps we have to change its status to canceled. Uh, that way we can make the availability of those other assets go back to their original state. But basically, what you see here, it's an untitled checkout. The UI is going to be a simple two-column layout where you can name the checkout. For instance, this can be uh, Beamer rental for marketing event or let's call it camera equipment for streaming event. Um, you can select the location of when and where you want to do this checkout to. This is an optional field. And you can put a start date and a return date for the checkout. This is the way that the system can send you perhaps an automatic email with saying like, hey, you should expect your items to be returning. And then, of course, you can do a little bit of your management. Um, Moreover, if you're doing a group checkout, so you're doing a checkout of a few equipment pieces, uh, you should do the checkout to one person of your team members index. That way, you know who initiated the checkout. Ideally, this is the equipment or asset manager, and who is the recipient of the checkout, who is supposed to be receiving and being responsible for these assets as well as their return. So you can see that in the UI, we're going to have a scan button and add assets. Scan is perhaps something that is not going to go live directly, but this would allow you, for instance, to on location, on the spot, scan tags or assets to put them in the checkout list so that you can then just do that mobile process. Uh, Very likely that on the initial release, we're going to have the add assets. And once you click that, it's just going to load your list of assets, your list of available assets. As you see, the assets are here retrieved from one of your gear rooms. One of the options can be from the full asset inventory. And you can see that there have been 5 assets added. No, I'm very sorry. There's 6 assets added, and they all have the status checking out. So that means that nobody else can be trying to check them out at the same time as you. You can, of course, delete pending to be checked out assets, and like that, keep like a clean list of assets to be checked out. Once the checkout has been executed, it changes to a status open. So it's an open checkout, which we perhaps we can find a better word for it. If you have a better word for it, let us know. And once you enter that checkout environment, it will show you the name of the checkout as well as a small calculation of, hey, this asset is due back in 3 days, 2 days, 5 hours, 2 hours, whatever. Um, and you can see that they're all checked out. You can, by default, extend the duration of a checkout by clicking on extend, or you can edit a few of the elements in it. Once you're finished with the checkout and you have marked it as checked in, the checkout changes to status completed, and all objects inside that checkout become again available for checking out. Uh, this entry will get to show you which name at which stage which items were checked out and for which purpose. Perhaps it's handy for your auditing. And of course, we have the option to see a status called overdue, uh, things that have not been managed as checked back in by the admin. We'll have an overdue tag, so this is a little bit of pending work um, for you to do. So this has an effect as well on the inspect page, right? So like when you navigate to a product page, you will also get to see a new element. Um, for instance, once you go to for MacBook Pro M1, you can see that this one is available. It's on Gear Room 1 and it's in the custody of Carlos Virreira. So Carlos Virreira is currently using it, but he has marked it as available for checking out. So somebody can book it and use it. So this feature also has an effect on the asset view page, which is also important for you to know. Mm, and to update you slightly further, we have, of course, more views like open checkouts, draft checkouts, and stuff like that. And we're currently working on finding a nice experience for you to use a nice date picker for your return dates. Um, this feature is contains a lot of views and a lot of considerations that we need to have. So it's gonna take a bit of a moment to develop it, but I see it as being a very powerful feature for doing rentals and shared assets, like shared asset management. So hopefully this small video has showed you a couple of the concepts we have in mind, the things that we want to be developing, and we will of course be sharing all these updates on our YouTube channel if we're going to be doing tests and if or we're iterating on stuff. And I look very much forward to doing this. Uh, a precursor of this task is to make the non account having team members. Straight after that, we can do checkouts and check-ins. And the next thing that we're going to be working on is going to be having co-admins. Uh, co-admins will create a new sort of account type or use type, which is slightly more professional. We believe that if you have multiple asset managers, that you are having a more professional use of Shelf, so you can expect that there will be some pricing plans for that. However, Shelf will always be free for individuals and free for like organizations that have a single asset manager, a single point of asset management contact. Um, so, hope you like the video. Hope this is even remotely interesting for you. It's a new thing for me to do. Hopefully, over time, I'm gonna be improving in the on camera and on stream. I wish you all a great day and thanks for tuning in. And many greetings from everybody from the Shelf team. Bye bye.